Mm. Mm. All right, let me turn the music down right quick, y'all, so I can talk to my peoples. Man, number one, thank anybody and everybody that could tune in tonight. Thankfully that you could be here for another Sunday. If you did not know, y'all, I want y'all to always remember Sunday is your first start of the week. So today on Sundays is a live portion. What I love to just break down, talk to you, recap things that I find interesting that go inside your mind. And I love to put you in that zone and element where we're supposed to be. So again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you like to do. Make sure you show your band, your boy love as much as he can. This is officially live number 13. So been 13 consecutive weeks strong. I've been doing this. I noticed I've been getting great reaction just based off the conversation and things we've been doing. And I'm so happy to see that people are getting something from it. That's my main thing. Get something from this message that will help you in your way, in your life, that will help you on your journey. That's all I'm trying to do, ladies and gentlemen. So again, man, this week, what we had chopping up this week, remember on Sundays is when you reflect. Sunday morning, you spend your time with God, whatever you believe in, you walk, you get your mind right. Then you reflect on the previous week, what you did good, what you did bad. Then you talk about it. Sunday is the only true day of rest. It's the first day of the week, and it's the day where you rest mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. That's what you try to do to reset yourself. Remember, 6 days labor, 1 day rest is a philosophy of all of our great philosophers in historical context. So today's topic, man, let's chop it up now. So today's topic, man, came to me off of, I got inspired by that Shannon Sharp, Brittany Renner interview, but I want to take it and put it in multiple directions. Today's topic will be titled, man, Perception is Reality. Let me say it again. Perception is reality. So y'all know me, man. I like to break it down brick by brick. Shout out to Franklin Saint, the real free Ricky Ross. I like to break it down brick by brick. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning, y'all, right? When we talk about what someone's perception is, you have to understand that everything that we do in this life will have a meaning or sort of an outcome towards you, right? So let's go ahead and do perspective. Let's start from the beginning. Let's go to Webster. Perspective, break down the definition of words. Words matter. It is a mental view or a prospect. It is a visible scene. It is the interrelation where somebody mentally views you, which is way of importance, your appearance, the technical view, how you are a picture or perspective. So when somebody has a perspective of you, you got to understand that's the image they already have in their mind, what you are, what you do, how you talk, how you carry yourself. Your name gives a perspective on people. Who you are when they hear King Crowder is a perspective on me. You have to get a perspective that will be strong towards you and your family. One thing that I love that my parents always instilled in me early, y'all, and I hope all of your parents could do the same. They always said, we may not have a lot of money, but we have a good family legacy and we have a good last name. Don't mess it up. They might not be able to support me in every way financially in different ways that they can, but they gave me a good last name. My father showed me a good work ethic. My mother showed me how to steward a household. I saw that. That's a job well done. So my perspective has already been molded on what that is. That is one of the first jobs of parents to do to guide you throughout this thing called life, right? Now that we have the perspective of what that means and how that breaks down to you, now let's go into the other side. Now we're going to break down what the word perception means. Remember, words matter, y'all. Again, if you're here now, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, share the channel because we're about to go in. The perception could be a result of a mental image, a concept, a sense of awareness, an acute and a capacity for comprehension. The perception of you is what people think of you. So think of like this, y'all. When we think of peanut butter, what do you tend to think about? The perception of peanut butter is, sweet, brown, economical, good feeling, made with multiple meals. The feeling of hot sauce, spicy, hot, depends on the version you buy. Each one of these things, when we say these type of words, will pop a certain amount of perception in your mind. So when you got to understand is that once you start to do things throughout your life, people will perform a perception and perspective on you by what you show them. So when you show them some habits over time that, hey, I'm not a person that tends to value certain things, that is your responsibility because you put that perception out there. It is also your responsibility to change that perception over time. Now, it's not something easy to do because when people get a certain amount of thing inside their mind about you, you have to figure out ways which you can change that with your words and with your actions. Let's keep going. You know how we hear those analogies, right? In life, I know, no matter how old you are, you hear certain sayings and they stick with you. And at moments in your life, you may not understand what they mean at that time. But as you get older, you understand, hey, when people say perception is reality, what do they mean? What they mean, it is a quality state of being. It is a real life event of state affairs. It is something that depends on you that is not necessarily necessary. It is the realization of images that we see online, that we see perpetuated in person. So when people use these words, perception is reality, what they're actually saying is that the things that you built about yourself will later become the reality of you when people even meet you or know you. So the one thing I had to learn specifically this year, y'all, that my digital footprint online is my reality. I've taken the time this year to work on my digital footprint because that was one thing I was lacking upon. Internally, I do the work all the time. I've always been a well-read, articulate, trying to be there every time, put the work in behind the scenes. Literally, this year is the first time that I've tried to broadcast this, i.e. the lives, i.e. coming out, i.e. doing Toastmasters, i.e. writing a script for the first time, i.e. doing multiple things that I'm trying to do along with working. Remember, I'm employed still at the first time. I'm still working. I'm still a husband. I'm still a leader of my family. I'm a father. I'm all of those things in certain rights that I'm trying to do while trying to develop how my digital footprints needs to be enhanced and how my reality needs to be shaped and molded. So I want you to understand these things about how deep these things go. So when you hear words as in, hey, my reality is this, my perception about the world is this, I want to show you something, right? From a vlog, a hood vlog, right? I work with males all the time, young men all the time. And working with these young men, what's good, Ralph? Working with these young men all the time, right? When you deal with them and deal with them throughout life, you begin to see how their reality and their mind frame is sculpted by what they see. So this one right here was given to me, working with some kids this week. I began to see in real time, shout out to Ralph, in real time, how their words are influenced by them. So I'm going to try to watch a video. I'm going to make it short. I'm going to apologize ahead of time if it has any, colorful language. But I want you to see how people who live in a certain reality are influenced in real time. Because sometimes we're disconnected from it and we don't see it enough. But I want you to physically see how it's happening. So I want y'all to see in real time. Fair use. Again, fair use. Fair use.
I'm off the block next over.
I'm one of the OGs, ran for him, period.
Survival of the fittest out here, for real, no cap.
Going on the big DCG.
I'll smack out you on this camera.
Y'all can't use this. Hey, give me. You say what? Look, man.
Go back to your block, man. Barn get it, long live Barn.
So what I'm showing you right now is actually a hood vlog. This is going down in the streets of Chicago. The reason why this is important, y'all, I want you to understand how people's perception and how they're living affects them. So the perception of people on the west side of Chicago view life in this term of fashion. I want you to go inside of their world to see, number one, why do they think this way? Number two, why is their ideology this way? And number three, why do they tend to do what they do? right? Remember, the title of our speech today is Perception is Reality. What I'm showing you right now is how strong imagery, what you see and what you being around can influence you. Let's get back to the video.
Crazy.
What's going on, guys? It's a beautiful day out here in Chicago. I'm the DCG Brothers. They're going to show us their hood.
Hood Vlogs came out with us. We got Hood Vlogs. Broadcasting the West Side right now. Right now, we
Right
on
now
my
we
big
on
brother
Mayfield
crib.
and Potomac. You feel me? Where this shit reside at? Jack Boys, P Block.
P Block, the 1300 block. It's usually, the West Side, North Side, South Side, and East Side, but just the West Side,
This bitch known for
Now, when you see these videos, I want you to understand, y'all, all of these young men right here are 23 and under. Every single one of them. Look at their facial features. Look at their words, their dialect, the way they carry themselves. Their perception that they have right now is trying to survive. I ain't gonna bash these young men because they come up in a poverty-stricken environment, strictly trying to make it out. But I want you to see how being in that type of environment changes your perception. So we're gonna watch this video for a little bit more. Then I want to get into why this video is so critical. All right, let's keep going.
everything under the sun.
Obama.
But it's just like our West is a lot. It'd be a lot of niggas focused on getting money for real. Whether you a killer, whether you a whatever you is out here, you gonna get you some money if you from out West.
It's the West Side, but I got my brother them over from the East Side.
Boy, them over there, niggas can't do that.
That's
Niggas
the
can't do
difference.
that.
You feel me? We on the 1300 block. You feel me? This motherfucking phone them in. You feel me? We from motherfucking Division, all type of shit. Division, motherfucking Central,
Mayfield and Potomac,
Mayfield,
Parkside and Potomac.
Parkside.
That's all our
All
shit.
us. You feel me? Mason, all that. So you feel me? Like right now, this the West Side.
Mason,
You got
Division,
past
Mason,
this,
Potomac,
all this,
that's our
like the
shit.
United Center. We got the Jungle. That's where the BDs at. That's all my people that right here.
Big type of that.
We breaking down Chicago. That's still a West Side. You feel me?
For sure.
So what's going on?
All right, man. I think that's enough, y'all. In real time, I want y'all to speak on the words these young boys use. So when they spoke about their neighborhood, which they call the hood, growing up in that type of environment, I'm familiar with the hood terminology, right? That's the hood. That's their neighborhood they live in. I want you to peep 3 words they said. I wrote them down. We live in the jungle. We got the BDs. We got the project living style. We got the neighborhood and we the get money type of organization. I want you to refer to all of these perception things that these young men used while they were speaking. Why is this so interesting? Because once your perception on things are formed, it's kind of hard to change it. And the reason why I wanted to break down about these young men and why their perception currently is so strong, people don't understand that there's a correlation between the hood guys and the stripper culture, the drug dealers and the fast lifestyle. Whenever you hear those words being mixed and mingled, all they are saying to you is that they've had things go on in their life they need to deal with. And their perception on how reality is, their upbringings and things they had to deal with, formed it and shaped it and molded it. Good, bad, or indifferent, they made the life choices that they made. But you could look at everybody that they see around these young boys, especially with the beautiful jerseys on, the hats, they looking fresh as can be. They're young. They're young. But if you listen to them, you can listen to them having an entrepreneurial spirit, number one. You can hear them saying how they need to champion and build themselves up, how they want to create wealth and provide for their families. But in their perception, they're willing to take long-term chances just to get that. They don't even understand the implications of that long-term perspective. What they're seeing right now is the clear and short-term results. They don't understand that the commonalities for what they do will harm them. A drug dealing guy has a hard time assimilating to normal life. You will. The reason why you will get used to that certain type of money coming in. That money that you make at one point in your time is not sustainable. You can't recreate that year after year, time after time. It's like a woman that does a dancing lifestyle. Do you know how hard it is to get a person like that to work a normal job, to make a normal type of living if they're used to living a certain way? In their perception, money comes in faster than it really happens. So when they have to change or mentally change their reality, do you know how difficult it is to transition out of that? The best example I can give to that, y'all, is a homeless guy. Do you know how difficult it is for a homeless person to transition out of being homeless? If you ever seen a movie called The Soloist, let me type that in the chat. I recommend all of you watch this movie called The Soloist. Phenomenal film. I'm going to highlight it. The Soloist by Jamie Foxx. I apologize if I spelled it incorrectly. Jamie Foxx has a movie called The Soloist that speaks about homeless people transitioning out of being homeless. And what we never think about is that is literally a step-by-step process. People that are homeless view themselves as freedom. They view themselves as having a different lifestyle that most average people cannot have. They view themselves as having more freedom, more leverage, more resources, more outcome, more vulnerabilities than the average person. So to transition how you would a dope boy or drug dealer out of that, it mentally takes a lot of time. You literally have to tell yourself in this moment, I need to figure out how to get out this lifestyle. I need to figure out how I'm going to change my mind to do those things. Because when people always say, oh, I need to move, I need to do a change. No, you need to change your mind first. Because once you change your mind first, everything else will follow. Everything else will follow. Your reality, who you deal with, who you operate with, all of those things will change. The biggest piece of reality change we'll see, I'm going to show you another video right now that I saw on Twitter. The reality for how young men of a certain age used to carry themselves and how they did now has shown how reality has changed by generations recently. You don't see a lot of young men that you see in music specifically with the generational experience and how they talk. I'm going to show you a video about Charleston White, controversial, but I want you to hear what he said about how Tupac was when he was in prison and how he responded to a judge and racial allegations. Take a listen.
Nigga like Tupac stood up and told the judge, Your Honor, you ain't even looked at me one time in my eyes. That nigga Tupac told the judge before he got sentenced, homie. What the kind of nigga kicked the table over? Nigga, fuck y'all, man. Fuck you. And the bailiff got to come drink. What them kind of niggas at, homie? Them niggas over there with the law, you say, man, how much you trying to say? Give me I said, that's what you see now, man. You don't see no nigga bucket white folk no more. Niggas just fighting police. Police kill a nigga. We finding out where they cousins, where they brothers and they mamas and them jumping on them people. I bet they stopped killing niggas then. They found going to their kids' school, doing shit. I bet they stopped killing niggas then. They kill one of us, you kill one of their family members. I bet they stopped killing niggas.
Charleston White said a lot there. But the main thing he said was that how the perception on how you tend to take things now, especially in this hip-hop environment, has spawned against everything. What he said right there about Tupac and how Tupac made music to a certain crowd, how he represented to a certain crowd, how he spoke revolutionary, how he wanted to change his perception with music, with socially, with different acronyms, how he went back against certain things. That is all the perception he grew up with that molded him. Like we saw in the previous video with those young brothers on the west side of Chicago. They never have an ideological perception like Tupac did. They have never been given or fit in that type of spirit on what it means to stand on business. Stand on what you say. Being an honorable man, standing up to what you mean. Honorability amongst men and women right now is at an all-time low, y'all. Somebody could say they coming over your house and don't show. They don't even say, my bad, I was busy. Somebody won't even call you back when they said they was going to call you back. They don't even say, man, I apologize for not calling you back when I said I would. People will literally not say nothing. They won't say nothing, y'all. Honorability is so low amongst most people. It's crazy. You know the number one compliment I mostly get when I deal with people, y'all? That you keep your word, that you're honest, that you would tell somebody, "You're my bad, I messed up, I didn't intend to do that." The reason why I think all that is important is that in current news, let me transition on, y'all. Again, thank y'all for watching on in, man. Title of the day, Perception is Reality. Hit the like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you rocking with me. Man, this video right here, me and my wife had a debate about it, right? I'm not going to get into, you know, the whole what the young lady did with her body. That's not my business, right? That ain't me. I ain't gonna never tell you that. But what was so unspoken was, to me, how you make sly comments that were one time very, you don't say, that is said now with no shame, no worry, and no like, dang, that's really crazy that I did that at one point in time. Me talking ain't gonna describe it. Fair use again. I want y'all to watch this video. All right, get ready to tune in.
There was a video that I did in my car where I was talking about how I had sex with, was it 3 men in a day?
Yes.
And then I ended up getting a yeast infection.
Yes.
I came out pretty unscathed for just a yeast infection,
Right.
considering what I could have gotten.
Right. But did you think
So I think about the ramifications
Yes.
of telling people that I had sex with multiple men. Yes, I don't care. It's the truth. If you don't see me as a potential dating person, then great. One less heart to break. Leave me alone, and I'm going to continue to live my truth.
but you do understand, Brittany, that's hard for man. Look, like you said, public versus private. Now, if you and I having a conversation, and you're sitting in here, we have a conversation, and you say, "Well, Shannon, I slept with this many men." Okay, that's one thing. That's between you and I. But to have that conversation, and then everybody, Sam, John, and everybody else knows it, that's a whole different ball game, Brittany.
That's fine with me. I mean, I feel that.
But see, that's selfish because all you're thinking about is you. What about him? He has got to be with you.
He has got to be with me.
No,
or
what
he
I'm
has
saying.
He has the privilege to be with me.
Okay.
Because you know how many women you've slept with?
Brent,
Do you know how many women you've slept with?
I'm
Yes or no?
I'm doing the interview.
Do you know how many women you slept with?
Yes.
Double digits? Triple digits.
Oh,
Here we go, Sim.
I want y'all to see that. And I don't know the woman, never gonna talk bad about the woman. What I want to speak to is how strong this perception of this behavior has gotten. I don't care about the act she did. I'm not worried about none of that. What I am speaking on right now is people don't understand when comments go into the ethos, out into the world, and we hear stuff like this being spoken about, and you have made certain judgment calls to do this within a 24-hour period, your perception about you will never be changed. Your perception on who you are as a person will never be changed. It is just like a guy that has multiple kids. If you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 baby mamas, you know who you are. Bruh, you a man that lacks discipline. I get it that you like having a good time. We all do. I ain't gonna never turn down a good time. We get it. But bruh, your perception of you before we meet you to hear that you have 10 children, you ain't disciplined. You ain't to be trusted. You're not honorable. You're not respectful. You're not as perceived to be a good person. And not talking about her, the individual, but let's put that situation on anybody else. If you did not know a woman and she told you blank, you did not know her, and she told you what she just told you, what would your perception of her be? Would it be positive? Would it be good? Would it be understandable? I'm going to say for everybody, no, finito, no, ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way it's going to be a strong, impactful image. There's no way that you can hear that and somebody speaking about the situation that you did with yourself that I can respect you after that. My reality and ideas of who you are as a person will not change. It won't. And it's sad to say it out loud, but we must be honest about that. My perception, when I think of your name, when I see who you are, when I see your acts, when I see your activity, when I see your name pop across my phone, oh, she a fun time. Yeah, that's what it is. You're a fun time. You a girl that's having a fun time. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. But if you think any of this will translate to anything positive, it ain't gonna happen. And I'm sensitive to anybody that has children. I get it, man. Have, mad siblings, a lot of nieces and nephews out there, love you all. But once you begin on the path of having children or a spouse or anybody else that can see this type of behavior, I'm really sensitive to that, y'all. The reason why, you got to understand that it's not about you no more. And when you put this out in the environment, your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew are all responsible for speaking on that. And you are a person, you're a woman, you're a man, you could do what you want with your body, but it got to be a little bit of decorum, a little bit of respect for yourself, a little bit of privacy. I think what Shannon Sharp said is very true about this guy. What is he going to do when he's out in public and people hear about this? You know how crazy that sounds? 3 and 24 hours, bro? And you thought you got out easy? Man, hearing that is like, what? I mean, I've had some moments. I've had some times. But I do understand that men and women are different. There is a double standard. If you don't like it, jump out the window. There is. You cannot go against the laws of natural reality. The double standard in the Crowder household is that wifey ain't got to work this hard. She ain't got to work that hard. It's my responsibility to hold down the house. I get it. It is her responsibility to make sure I'm straight. So when it's time for dinner time, I don't want to, it need to be there. What's wrong with that? We know this is how way things go. You can use whatever term, whatever words you want to hear, but it's the truth. And if publicly you are already championing yourself out in the world this way, how can I agree with that as a man? How can I stand 10 toes down as a man and say that's cool? I can't, man. I cannot stand upon my element, talk to my siblings, talk to my boys, talk to my brothers and say, hey, this woman right here, I chose to make my wife. I chose to represent me and my family, my legacy, whatever things that come about that. I'm choosing to do that. I can't do that in good faith. You got to understand as a man that our ego, our pride, what we stand on, all that thing tends to mold us. And if you as my woman do not understand that, you don't understand how big perception is reality actually goes. And if I have to teach you the basics on how to dress out when you with me, you ain't for me. I tell dudes all the time, when you have a dating conversation and you have to tell a woman how to properly dress, bro, what was you talking about? If I got to tell you how to carry yourself when you out, when you speaking to a waiter, that's an L, my boy. Let me write that down for you. That's an L. You don't need to talk about that no more. You need to throw that out and throw that where it's supposed to be. Hold that. Hold that. You gotta hold it, man. Certain things you ain't supposed to be doing. If you never had the dad you're supposed to do, man, I'm gonna give you the words of wisdom from my pops. Love you, daddy. If I gotta tell you the basic functions, you need to regroup. If I gotta tell you that going to work makes you a man, you need to regroup. If I gotta tell you taking a shower makes you feel right, we gotta regroup. If I gotta tell you get up and figure out what you gotta do for your family and your kids, we got to regroup. And if we gotta regroup, but that means right now I don't even want to have a conversation. Well, no, man, leave that stuff where it's supposed to be. It ain't hard. It's not. Make the adjustments, do what you gotta do, and change correctly. I know I can speak passionately about the subject, man, but when you see this type of stuff, people don't understand how serious it is. Little things like that will end up harming you in the long term, man. And as a man, you got to take it for real. You got to take it to that way. So it's about that break time of the show, y'all. I'm going to go in here, get me a little bit of thing to snack on. My voice feel like it's going a little bit bad. And I'm going to come back with you, man. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Make sure you enjoy these vibes. Enjoy this music. And what I'm going to do is get back at you. So make sure you know I ain't going nowhere, baby. I'll be back. And enjoy. Y'all in a few. Shout out to that beat by my boy Melvin, man. Thank him so much for making that for me, y'all. Along your journey on new things you want to add or new things you want to do, you'll begin to meet people that'll help you along your way, man, in your journey. Like me, this is a new journey for me. I ain't expecting nothing to happen overnight. I'm a worker by nature, so I know things will come slowly, and that's what I want. I want that slow growth and development. But Melvin, my boy in LA, made me a few beats to let me try and sample, man. I just want to give him his flowers to let him know that I appreciate it so much, dog. And my journey is starting to grow and develop itself. And I realize this is going to happen. It's going to occur. But shout out to him, man, for letting me being able to do it. I appreciate it so much, bro. Again, let's get back to it, man. So, again, we were talking about perception is reality. Some comment, like, and subscribe if you're on the playback. Make sure you let me know that you're getting to watch this. Perception is reality, right? This one's going to be a little controversial, just who the gentleman is. R.I.P. to Kevin Samuels. The reason why I think it's important to see this type of video being spoken is that you're going to see the same identical message being spread, but who is spreading it gets the reaction and the understanding by certain individuals or people. Going into this video, you will see literally Kevin Samuels talking about the subject of marriage, how it is not pushed, taught, or being educated enough. So right now, I want you to take this time to hear his overarching message that still holds true to this day.
Put your so-called degree, your so-called career, whatever above what matters to men. And then you're trying to leverage it as if you should be able to get the most. Like I talked to that one young lady the other day, and she's like, well, I want a man who can take care of me and spoil me because I've been spoiling myself on a $50,000 a year salary. You can't spoil yourself on $50,000 a year. This is how it is, how deluded women have gotten to the point to where, why is this important? Because if you cannot adequately understand how much of a price tag to put on something you are selling in the marketplace, that's your problem. You are a product in the sexual marketplace, and you can put whatever price tag you want on yourself.
What he said was a mouthful, right? If you didn't know, Kevin Samuels was a curator, a thought leader, image consultant, and spoke about relationships. Now, I want you to see how his message was just said, beautifully articulated, by the way. If you are the buyer, you have to do whatever if you are the seller, excuse me, you have to compromise to what the buyer wants. You have to meet their expectations, and you have to know they want this, this, and this. It is your job as the seller to meet it. Either do that or not be purchased. Now, if you've been living outside and living in the world for the past week,
out loud,
you will see
that as black men,
that it's another video spoken by Ebony K. Williams. Now, Ebony K. Williams did have some other words being addressed this year, speaking about our blue-collar brothers out here in this world. My brothers, my fathers, my uncle are all blue-collar. That's where I come from. So when you make comments like she made, it was offensive. Now, she has made a video addressing education and the theory of how education will help you long-term. Speaking of that, now she is giving the real truth from an older woman perspective. So what she's doing right now is what Kevin Samuels was doing it, but from a woman. She is doing it, hey, I want you to watch out and not do the things I did. I want to extend my hand to give you the game I wish somebody had told me. So I want to play the video, give me and what she would see what she's saying and see what your thoughts were. Let's go.
age increases. Thus, their optionality of women is always expanding. And the exact opposite is true for black women. As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate, our degrees or professional accolades, the reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose. because the number of college-educated Black men is so low when compared to Black college-educated women that we're all going to be targeting the same small pool of men. And as we heard today, on most campuses, there's like 7 Black women students for every 1 Black man student. Y'all do the math. So here's my advice. If you are a young Black woman in college and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD.
Let me pause it right there. Great job explaining it like she did. I'm not going to have any pushback on that. I think the reality is Miss Williams is not familiar with the marketplace right now. Most men, especially younger men, do not view college the same as women still do. Women view college as a way to get you somewhere. Most men, literally, y'all, as working in the school systems have seen, have taken a step back from it. Especially depends on what type of part of the United States you are in. Most men now are viewing the blue collar work most likely what they should go into. Contractor, remodelers, oil and gas rig, service based outside of the college environment. Right now, the college environment has been diluted to know that if you're not doing STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you do not need to go to college anymore. You are seeing so many career paths change that. And a lot of men are pivoting right now. What we are seeing is women are still going, saying this is a way to get safety and security, which in a way it is. But I want this message that Mr. Williams used to be said to understand. That is an old way of thinking she's even saying. I would like most ladies to understand now, in this environment, the perception for men on college has changed. Most men are not wanting to go unless they solidify they're going into STEM. There's literally no use before it because there's not a guarantee on jobs, on careers, or curriculum now. So the dating environment has changed. Number 2, you have to understand, I'm going to say this about the perception that I believe Mrs. Williams and I think Mrs. Samuels have said before. It is tougher to be outside in this environment trying to date. I reside in Houston, Texas. Do you realize that the rate of women to men in Houston is like, what, 7-1? Think about that. If you are a college-educated, thorough, like-minded brother, for every 7 women you see, there's 1 man. So you got to think about this for a second. As a woman out here in this environment, you're not competing against other Black women. You're competing against all women after that 1 man. Because women are the same. At the end of the day, women want companionship, leadership, resources. And if he can do that for you, he can do that for every man. I truly believe now college is the only way that I believe most women should seek relationships. Because if you don't meet that man in college, in this type of world that we're living in, it is very unlikely that you ever will. If you have that man that you are with in your 20s, that is your husband. We need to start speaking that message out loud. That is your husband. Because I don't know any place you can meet brothers that are doing well outside of the work setting. Any of the men that I would say my age range, y'all. I'm a millennial. I'm about to be the 3 decades. So anybody 25 and up, that's a man, right? Anybody that's 25 and up age range, that's a man that is career-minded, aspirational-minded. You have to understand he does not have the mindset of going out. So how are you going to interact with him? Unless you go to his gym, you live where he lives. Even if you put yourself in all of that proximity, you have to understand that dating now is so accessible. Meeting people is so accessible. As we think women have the most leverage, I would argue that perception is women do. In reality, men do. As a man, any man that I meet that are on their purpose that make at least 60K and up, I don't know. If I was a woman, I don't know how you could date them. I don't know how you could form a relationship with them. I don't know how you could form a bond with them. I believe in this video, I understand what they're trying to say, but I do not believe that they are not giving the reality is how rough it is out here in this world. I don't know how you can close that gap in the current way and in current environment we're going upon. Because right now, we know that dating is a problem. And perception is black dating is a problem, right? And reality is it's a huge problem for women. I'll say for men, if you're a social guy, it's easy. Truly is. It is so many ways you can meet and do things, and the options are so readily available. But I do feel for most women that it's not. It is a challenge. You got to compete with 20 other women. You got to go against any other guy doing that. I don't know the perfect answer. I'm not going to sit right here and act like I do, but I do know how it's perceived, how the reality is, how that guy has built himself up. I don't know how you can compete with that. The greatest example I can give, man, is that not a great example, but I do think a real life example of a brother that was once in this type of mind frame and reality, and you begin to see how he transformed himself. That is remarkable, that we must mention. I'm going to mention several, but I believe one of the first ones we should mention is the great Gucci. Gucci man transformed himself, man. If you are younger but below a certain age, you may not realize how Gucci man used to look. But Gucci had the big old gut. He definitely used to drink heavily. He definitely used to look real different. I wish I could describe to you guys how much of a transition period Gucci man had to go to. Gucci is truly a success story, y'all, about how changing your mind, your body, and spirit can change how you live forward. Gucci man, prior to being incarcerated, prior to being married, was definitely on drugs, was definitely, had some mental problems. But the brother's success story of how he came back and how he looks now is incredible. Now, Gucci had to know that to me to change my perception of me, I must change everything. Eating habits, look, style, approach, marital status, how I carry myself. Everything must change for the perception of you to change. Everything must change for how people to view you to change. Everything must change for you to be at that next person, that next level. Gucci man understood that. He understood that perception is hard to get past, man. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so difficult because you will be reminded who you are. You will be reminded about your failures. You will be reminded what you did. Gucci man is the first great example I want to see in real time, y'all, about how you must go deep to change your perception about yourself. Because, I want you to see in real time, real life examples when we have conversations like this. As intellectual people, Gucci man is a great example in the 21st century as somebody that had to mentally dig deep and change himself. Shout out to Gucci. The next person who was left us recently, man, who I'm a fan of. If you do not know this brother, his name is Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was born on the West Coast. Crenshaw, Slauson, all those type of environment. Was a gang member growing up. Did have a checkered past, going to prison stints, all of that. But prior to his tragic death happening, what Nipsey Hussle spoke about was ownership. Even though he appeared on the outside as a gang member, which he was. Until his death, he was honest about it. I'm a gang member. That's who I am. That's part of my culture. But what Nipsey Hussle had to do to get people to change about his perception, he had to let his business moves, his ownership stake, the way he carried himself, the way he spoke, the way he talked to lead further than any of his other actions. Now looking at him, tattoos, braids, hood swagger, but listening to his mind, what he preached, his motivation, his intellectual spirit, what he stood for, his born against family with his future wife that he was going to marry with Lauren London, with how he had to reshape his imagery. Remember, he is a street dude by nature, hood dude, gang member, but he had to change his mental perception to get where he once was. Many people don't even refer to Nip as a gang member, which he actively was. Rolling 60, cuz, listen to it. But when you begin to see how he associated himself and how he had to work on his perception to get him to a certain point, we got to understand how deep internal work that you must do. Everybody got a past, which is cool, man. But before you leave this earth, you got to make an imprint on who you are as a person. That means inside. That means how you live. That means how you think. That means how you carry yourself. That means what you did when you were in these environments. Nipsey Hussle is a great illustrator of this, man. I cannot highlight how much work this brother did that was truly phenomenal. Listening to his music, listen to his aspirational spirit, listen to his mind state about ownership and building a slow, steady progress. That's literally who I'm mirroring myself off of when he talks about that, y'all. Some of his principles, some of his thoughts processes. Now, he took a different path for me. I have the game of the street life in my family, but that's not really my route. My dad was a street nigga, street ninja. Apologize for that. My family have been in there. I've seen it firsthand. That wasn't my route. That doesn't mean that the King Davids did not have the Fred Hamptons. That does not mean that Bumpy Johnson did not talk to Malcolm X. That does not mean that. The street culture and the enlightened cultures were always blended. It was always a mutual respect, head nod for what you're doing. I understand that long term. And I believe that's why the mutual respect and mutual love would always be there. Another gentleman I think we all must mention, man, and I think most people don't even know this. We all know about the iconic Malcolm X, right? And if you don't know about him, I require you to read all of his books, his thought processes, his piece work. Malcolm X, man, was iconic. What I love about Malcolm X, reading his work when he was growing up, he was a star privileged student. Now, he really grew up in the era of Jim Crow, growing up in Nebraska. And while he's in school, he wanted to be an attorney. But he had teachers literally tell him he is too aspirational of a Negro. Be a carpenter. Be an underachieving black man. And when his father died from a Klan's killing, when his father was lynched publicly in a execution-style murder, was a crime against humanity, when his father was lynched, and his mother lost her mind because things were going on in his family, shockingly. Malcolm, before he'd known at the time Detroit Red, was in Detroit, the New York City area. And he was doing things on the street level, doing things to build himself up. Most people have no idea that before he became Malcolm X, he did a 12-year prison stint. And while in that prison stint, that's when he decided to convert to the Nation of Islam. Before Malcolm went to prison, most people don't even know he couldn't read. He had to self-educate himself on how to read again. People think, how did Malcolm X become so intellectual? He would read every single day. He would invest in his mind mentally, spiritually, detoxing his body, living the walk and walking the talk. Malcolm X had to convert himself so his perception about himself was nothing to do with how he was and how he got to start. Remember, how he got his start was pimping, drugging, selling drugs. Look at these photos of Malcolm, man. I love to see it just to see his progress. Remember, his reality at one point was just like the young boys we saw earlier in the video of Chicago. He was him. He was them guys on the block in the projects doing his thing. And he had to go away to be incarcerated while in prison, where he re-educated himself, where he rejuvenized himself, when he had to reform, reincarnate, reestablish, do everything he could to become who he was later on, which is the great Malcolm X. We got to understand that to get these type of perceptions to change, man, they take work. If you ask Malcolm X, you see the iconic glasses, the chin guard, the speeches, the speaking out in public, the intellectual discipline, the self-defense cause. We see what Malcolm X stood for, the NOI, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That was all Malcolm X and how great of a curator he was. So we see his upcoming story. What we got to see is how his change, on how he had to change his perception, later worked out for him in the long run. And I think as people, we got to understand that we have seen these type of things happen throughout history. Remember, history guru, I love history. So I love to see these type of stories. Malcolm X is that story. He is the embodiment of building yourself up, of learning more, of educating yourself as putting in the work to get where you're supposed to be. That is the great Malcolm X. If you did not know, read his book, The Autobiography, Detroit Red, how he taught himself. It is truly amazing. It truly is. Next, I'm going to speak on somebody else, man, that I think had an awesome story that most people don't know. We refer to him now, right, as Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr., he's Iron Man, man. He's funny, he's intellectual, he's smart, he's witty. But did you know he was a drug addict? Did you know that he spent his first up so years incarcerated in prison doing dumb things? Did you know that he had these type of things going on? Robert Downey Jr. literally had to reformulate himself. Had to build himself back up, y'all. His story is crazy. What he did, the drugs he was taking, how he was throwing his life away, how he's a privileged kid. It took him all the way into his 40s to get his act right. But if we would have stopped the process of Robert Downey Jr. at the age of 35, you would have been known for this. He would have been known as a drug addict. He would have been known to have a net worth of -10. He would have been known as an alcoholic, a drug addict, a no good person. But what he is known for now is a $100 million man. A man that literally is Tony Stark, the embodiment of that. A man that self-educated himself, pulled himself up, as the bootstraps, people like to say, that terrible analogy. I don't like it. He did that. Robbie Downey Jr. is one of the most influential people we've seen in real time. His story is incredible because he's not supposed to be where he is, y'all. We normally do not see drug addicts recover like that. We don't. You don't see them flourish in the next phase. Usually when they crash and burn, they done. Him pivoting, doing what he did, branding himself the way he has, it's remarkable. It's remarkable. And the reason why all this stuff right here is so important, y'all, we got to understand that these are real life examples of people that brought themselves up and picked up and changed their own perception of reality. We don't see that all the time. We don't hear that all the time. But knowing what he did, how he did it, man, it's inspirational. It is nothing short of sensational. Seriously. That's what it is. My final person that I personally love, man, very controversial. Some people don't like him. I love him. Is the great Tariq Nasheed, man. Tariq Nasheed, no matter what you feel, what you think about him, was formerly a younger guy. We've seen in real time how he went from pre-married, pimping, lifestyle, having fun, doing his thing, to father, husband, filmmaker, entrepreneur, leader, thought leader, group economics, and leading by example. We've seen in real time how he's pivoted to do the phenomenal thing that he's doing in real time. Tariq Nasheed, most people don't want to say this, is a real life Malcolm X, y'all. He is. His words hold weight. He's thought-provoking. He's smart. He's witty. He's speaking facts, truth to power, no matter what you think about it. He may not be as, strong of a leader as some people want because he is more of a commentator, which I understand that. That doesn't mean his message is wrong. That doesn't mean that his story is not incredible. That does not mean the way he built himself up is not something that should be shown to everybody how to change your perception as reality. We see it in real time. No matter what you think about the individuals that we show, no matter what you think about anything that was mentioned, what I want you to know is that all of these gentlemen, ladies, and men had to put in work to get where they are. They had to do it with their words, with their bodies, with their actions, with going against the grain, and showing they are to be reliable and they are to be trusted. And it's not easy to gain trustability, y'all. It's not easy to pivot because you're going to be reminded every day what you were. Well, remember when you stole from me? Remember when you lied to me and took that money when you said you was going to pay me back? Remember when you said you was going to do this, but you ain't did that? That will be a constant battle for anybody that has damaged their reputation. Reputation means the quality of people, how you will judge. It is your character, your recognition, or do you have a good name? Some of y'all don't give a dang about your reputation. Some of y'all don't think about, man, people got to know you from this. You ain't got to have no money most of the time, but your reputation should be solid. When you say you're going to do something, you should be showing that you do it. This is step one in rebuilding your reputation and your perception. You got to make sure that your new reputation about you is rock solid. Start off with what the words mean, y'all. Start off with what they mean and build from there. Your reputation is worth more than money. I said it. Your reputation, your good name, how people look at you, your character, your ability is worth more than money in certain instances. Make sure you guard your reputation with your life. Read the book, The 48 Laws of Power. Phenomenal read, Robert Greene. Let me type that down in the chat. Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. Please read it. Guard your reputation with your life. It is invaluable. Get it. Get it. Read it. Study it. Watch it. Your reputation, y'all. Guard it with your life. Having a good name is priceless. Having a responsible legacy is priceless. Being a trustworthy man or woman is priceless. And once it is damaged, you cannot repair it. The step one, let's write them down again. This is step one on how you repair your perception and how you were viewed. Step one, rebuild your reputation. It's hard, man, because you're going to constantly be reminded what you weren't, what you aren't, when you lied to me, what you did when you said you was going to do this, but you actually stole, what you didn't do at that time and moment in your life. You'll be reminded. As you are being reminded, you know what you got to do? You still got to be reliable. You still got to show that you are reliable, that you are honest, that when you are around people, you won't take stuff. I can put you in a room with my wife. I ain't got to worry about nothing. Anybody that knows me, y'all know that I'm not going to steal nothing from you. You can leave me in the house with anything, $1 million on the floor. You won't touch one penny. I just won't do it. And it's not for you, bro. It's for me. It's my conscience. Yes, you must be selfish in that way. It's your conscience. Your reliability must say, man, look, man, this is me over everything. I only got one Crowder last name. I'm only one King Crowder. I represent for the entire Crowder gang. I represent for them. You think I'm gonna mess that up? No. I'm gonna uphold that and push that standard as high as I can. See that jump shot? Look at that. I want to uphold that strong standard. I want my family to always know that I'm representing them well. I want them to know that I'm creating a standard for ourselves to show that how reliable we are. It ain't nobody's responsibility, it's mine. It is my responsibility to build, to develop it, to go with it, to garnish it. I got to do that. I got to start with that first step. If I want to change the reputation and the perception about the Crowder gang, I got to do that. And I'm going to. That's something I want to put on myself, not just for me being selfish, but for every other Crowder that comes behind me. I want us to be proud of that. I want us to be honored for that. I want my kids. I want them all to see the standard and what it should be. Every man or woman should have the same thought process, especially if they want to cause change of perception. Remember, being reliable, It's the first step to everything. Consistency, faithfulness, good relationships, good people. It is the foundation to being the best version of you. It is. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you everything I wish somebody would have told me out of all the things I've read, y'all. And I'm an active reader. I read every day. Thank God that I can keep up and keep that process going. Everything starts with these same concepts: being reliable, being trustable. Everything starts with that. We always think I gotta be this big outlandish person. As a person that's from a smaller town living in the big city, you know what everybody in the big city wants? People that are reliable, people that are honorable, people that are trustworthy, people that make sure their perception about themselves matches up to what people say, to make sure that your online image is the same as your in-person image. I laugh at my life all the time, y'all. My in-person image was much more high than my online image. This year is the first year that I've actually invested in making time to make sure I made the match. I never did that before. I was so big into making sure my in-person image was A+, which it is, baby. Credit score is A+. But I'm transitioning now to do the same thing online. I'm just carrying that same skill set to different platforms and different modems to speak on that. Because I do believe, man, all the things that I'm given is something that I've learned along my way. And right now, we don't have a culture or environment of giving to people that have a desire to want to learn. So it's not that, you know, the betterness and I want to know more, man. It ain't that ain't me. I don't care about none of that. I care about giving you that thing, man, that I wish everything would have told me. I wish. Because even if you don't have something, y'all, man or woman, I want y'all to understand that what you do have and what people gave you, value it. Next, step 3. Once you have your reputation styled, once you are showing you're reliable, now you must keep the credibility. What do I mean by that? If somebody's credibility is strong with you, that means that they're giving you the power and inspiring belief. You must make them know that, hey, I'm giving King Crowder this thing. He's going to get done. Hey, I'm giving my wife this assignment. It's going to get done. When they hand you something, they can have the ability to drop it and know it's done. When your credibility is so strong that people believe you without even questioning you, that is when you begin to see the perception change. Remember that example I gave of the great Gucci Mane? How Gucci had to change his personal persona to build up that credibility amongst people. He had to change his diet. He had to change his spiritual foundation. He had to let that woman that he was with get vulnerable and honest with him. He had to do all of the internal work to show that he was perceived as Gucci Mane, that one person, but now he is not. Tariq Nasheed had to show that, hey man, I was a womanizer in my past life, but I'm grown now. I got babies. I'm married. I'm sophisticated. I'm serious. I'm professional. When Robert Downey Jr. decided to get past those decisions that he wants to make, he had to make the decision to build up and establish that credibility. I'm going back to this statement right here because I believe we watched the video with the great Brittany Winner earlier. And I do believe, man, she wants to change her perception of herself. I do. And I believe that it can be done. But I do believe, number one, she has to reestablish her credibility. Her credibility right now is terrible. All of the SEX comments, all of the body count narrative must stop. She literally must do what Ebony K. Williams did if she wants to reestablish herself. She must. She must say that what she did didn't work and it didn't work all right. Because right now, we have so many women that I give, man, that are on cold with this crazy behavior. The men do not believe or support you. We don't. We don't know who to believe or who to deal with because all of y'all say the same thing and we don't see the habits and the effort shown. When you decide to mentally change and be a different person, you must understand that it has to be with actions, words, and the way you carry yourself. When you really decide that, it's going to come from here. And when it comes from there, your actions must match on a daily. You got the steps. I'm giving it to you. I want to see you all reestablish your credibility if you must. I believe it can happen to all of us, man, because we do not understand how much your perceptions influences you. You may say, I'm not that person from 5 years ago, but your perception is. You may say, I'm not that person I once was, but your image is when we see you. Your speech patterns, your thought process, how you talk, how you get out into this world, they're all the same. Until you make that conscious effort to get down to the nitty gritty and the screws, tie the knots, twist them, make adjustments, nothing will change. This broadcast is meant to just break it down, y'all, of the wins and losses, the harm perception can be reality. You must understand that your behavior can be forgiven if you go about it in a forgiving way. If you take accountability, if you change with your actions and not your words. Remember, demonstration is better than conversation. Remember, demonstration is better than conversation. We can have conversations all day. But if you're not discriminating that in your real life, anybody believe in you? You just talking. Actions will change it all. I believe it can be done. I believe everybody that wants to make that has the capability to. But it ain't on me. It's on you. Today's message, again, is perception is reality. It's your boy, King Crowder, back again with another live. My style of live is, number one, is to get deep. Surface level is cool, but I like to break down the words. I like to discuss them in detail. I like to get into the nitty gritty to give you this work. Listen, you're going to get this work. And when you get this work, this word, this message, this understanding, I want you to apply it in the best way you can. I do. I want everybody that wants to win to win. Let me say it again. I want everybody that has the wherewithal, the want to, and the attitude to win to win. But I want you to know when you decide to win, it starts here. If I can tell anybody that passed lessons what to do, start with the mind. I don't want nothing from either one of y'all but your mind. Once your mind is with me, we can do everything else we want to do. Once your mind is with me and we're going in the same direction, we can do everything we want to do. I know I'm starting it off, man. I'm only 2.5 months into this live thing, and I love it. I do. And I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep giving you this work. I'm going to keep helping in any way I can. All I ask in return is to share the content, comment, like, or subscribe, and make sure you have a conversation with me, man. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful for anybody that could watch. I'm so pleased. Please make sure you support me. Do whatever you can, man. I'm approachable. I'm likable. My anniversary is this week. Shout out to my wife, y'all. I want to give her a shout out. Anniversary time this week, man. You know, your boy's been in a relationship for a little minute. She lucky to have me. Straight up. She lucky to have me. And it's crazy, man. Love is real. Love exists. Support your dreams. Support your spouse. Support your imagery. Support everything. Support each other. I'm going to support you as much as you support me. I'm going to love who loves me. And while you're getting on and you're starting your week, again, learn what you can learn, get better at what you can get better, and continue to challenge yourself. I'm still in the lab working hard, writing, editing, doing the things I talked about. I want to show you with my effort what my rewards will become. It is your boy, King Crowder. You inspire me. I love my people. I love the Crowder Gang. I love what we're doing. I love the direction we're going into. Excuse me. I hope you learned something tonight. I hope you found something useful. Make sure you enjoy these songs, y'all. And make sure you know that your boy is officially about to be out. Until next time, let me rap for you. 60 bars. We going so hard. Everybody know that we going to jump off. Oh, let's go in. Ain't my go in. Now, enjoy your work. Hey.